Welcome in. Welcome in. There. Gorgeous. Fabulous. Hi, everybody. My name is Paint with Josh. Nice to see you again. Let me go through everything I've done to this canvas so far, and all the colors we're going to use, and the brushes we're going to use before we even get started. This is a 22 by 28 inch canvas. As you can see, I taped a black line across the canvas with a piece of tape, blacked out the whole bottom, let it dry. That's acrylic black gesso. Let it dry. It only takes about 5-10 minutes. Once it came time to paint this scene, I covered this area with our Bob Ross Liquid Clear, or Grumbacher's Liquid Clear, in fact, if we're going to be honest, and our Bob Ross Liquid White on the top, right? You can also use Grumbacher's Liquid White or Bob Ross brand. Either one works equally well. So the canvas on the bottom is wet, right? You can see it, that wet shine of the clear paint. The canvas on the top is wet, and this one is not available for you. It is a commission painting that we're doing for, let's get that stuff off of here, for one of our clients that messaged me privately and wanted this painting done. So we're going to take our Indian yellow. We're going to go through all the colors I'm telling you about prior. I'm going to get rid of this paint. It's being a little bit weird. You know when you put paint straight out of a tube onto the canvas and it's all oily and stuff? We got to clear all this stuff up. So sent me a message, said, hey, you know what? I want to do this farm painting deal. And I said, okay, cool. And so I practiced it a couple times on smaller canvases. You guys have probably seen a couple of the videos. We've done one of them in 24 minutes, in fact. And then that one is available for you on the homepage. And the mods will tell you how to get there, right? We're going to take a little bit of our Indian yellow color. Why is it just being so strange? In any case, we only need a little bit. And we're going to leave a big white section. And because our canvas is already wet with that liquid white, and our Paint with Josh brushes just make it so nice and soft. Just the softest little color out there, right? We're gonna leave a big open patch of literal, untouched, unpainted canvas right there, okay? That's gonna be our sun, quote unquote, because in this scene, we're looking into the sunset, and it's very hard to tell what's going on out there. There we go. Some of that paint, there we go. Yes, a little bit of our Indian yellow. The more you mix it down over our liquid white base, right, it's going to become brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. The less paint you have on the brush, especially as we're working it over here, and we're getting more white and less Indian yellow color, it's becoming more and more and more faint, right? We can determine how we want to blend these guys out, in which coloration, and how heavy in the value of the paint, and that's all up to us, right? Every time we go to do it, it's all up to us. Now don't worry, we're gonna put more than just Indian yellow up there in our sky. But isn't that just a fabulous looking thing already? I'm gonna come over here into my yellow ochre color, a gorgeous yellow ochre. It's a very dark yellow color. So, you know, it instantly changes the feel of our sky out there. And the more that we mix it across, and again, the more it's mixing with the Indian yellow and the liquid white that is already on the canvas, the more it'll change, right? So all we wanna do is have differences, little changes out there. You can even take that Indian yellow, our yellow ochre, and you even tap in just a little old cloud out there. Honestly, what do you feel like it should look like? Leave it a little bit heavier, might look like a little shadowy cloud. Push on it a little bit more and it's gonna change, right? All the while, the entire time, it's all mixing with our wet canvas base. That's the main thing, right? You have to have that wet canvas base. Otherwise, nothing's happening for you out there. Perfect. Remember, leave that spot open. Don't mess with it. We're gonna come over here into our crimson color. Boom, boom, boom. Pulling down a little bit of crimson. Let's come from the back. We don't need to have too much, right? And the more you put up there, the deeper, darker it's gonna be, and the harder it's going to be to blend it all out, right? So what does Josh always say? We can put on more, we can never take it away, right? We can always add paint. So let's start out with a softer, or a less bit, a lighter bit of the color out there, and then we'll spread it and we'll see what it looks like, right? Every time we do it, guys, another chance, do it a little differently. We're gonna take some of that red color, just the teeniest, tiniest bit. We'll throw some of it up here and allow it to blend down, and then we'll go wash off our brush and really blend out this whole sky. And that's when it's gonna look really, really, really fantastic. Before we do that though, you guys know me. Always, always, always gotta have darker colors up here. So I have my Bob Ross black on my palette today, right? It's not a very dark black color. It'll blend away literally very easily, even though it looks dark when you very first put it on. The more that you spread it, the less black it will be. It's gonna mix in with all those other colors out there. Right? It's gonna start to fade down and mix down and become less and less and less. I never like it to just be pure, brightness. We gotta have a little bit of darker, faded out colors. It gets further away from our guy, maybe a little bit underneath where our brightness, our clouds might be. And just blend it out. The more that we blend it and crisscross it, the more it will go away, the more it will all become the same. So you have to kind of decide as you're going, how do you like it? Right? Just literally crisscrossing back and forth. Back and forth, back and forth. The more that you do it, the more the color will grow and extend into the night. Right? It's all up to us. So now we've got a little bit of that color out there. A little bit of color across our entire canvas. Now we can actually go clean the brush and blend it out. And that's going to be the fun part. Really start blending it with a nice, clean, dry brush. Now, just to save on time, we're going to get up here and we'll start our little crisscrossies right into the brightness, the brightest area, kind of pushing it, extending it, letting it grow along the edge. Remember, guys, they're just releasing new Diamond Art Club kits as well. I just saw that on the old bookie book today, that they just posted a couple hours ago. New Paint with Josh Diamond Art Club kits are coming. They're coming out there. I don't want to go over that much to that guy too much, right? We only really want to focus on this part of our sky. Let's drop a little bit more of that color, and we'll push a little bit harder, blend it a little bit more, let it extend down, really push. Remember, you can always go back and add more paint. It's very difficult to take it away once you have too much up there. You really gotta blend it nice and soft. There. A little bit of change out there. Remember, all of this gets covered up by our trees. We're really only seeing a small amount of this pure kind of untouched brightness of our canvas. So don't worry about it too much. Get out there, spread it across, let it change our sky just a little bit. Come back from this side. Gotta move our whole body just to get over to this side. Remember, you want all this brightness back behind our trees. It's gonna make it look like the sun is really bright back there. And depending on how tall it is, you're gonna have to bring your trees up that tall. So, how do you want it to be is exactly how it's going to be, guys. I'm telling you. Let's get a little bit of that paint off the brush. And come back in, a little bit of brightness, a bit of titanium white right there, right? Literally, almost gonna leave it on heavy just so it stays real bright like that. And it's literally, as per the reference photo, that is what it looked like. Now, let's get down in here, since we've already got that orangey, yellowy, grassy color on our Paint with Josh 2-inch brush with the little googly eyes. How cute is he, right? I'm gonna come down here and get a little bit of that yellow ochre color. Not a lot. I don't want to see a whole lot on the brush. And I mean, we got a fair enough size canvas out here, but remember, all of our light is casting down. So if we take our brush very vertically and we start tapping in little bits, right? All the way up to our horizon, get a little bit lower, coming back and a little bit lower, just like gears, right? Clicking down, 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 creating this whole thing coming this way. Come back in, we're gonna fill it up. Have all this gorgeous grass in the distance. Now remember, the more that you tap at it, the less like grass it's gonna look, which is good for something very far away. You don't have to have everything out there being all nuts and crazy like, right? Now let's grab our Paint with Josh palette tool. Remember, you can get the last of the Paint with Josh kits. There's probably less than 15 available in the world. You can get them. The mods will tell you how to get there too, right? Or you can just go to my place and you'll find them very easily. And mine is Paint with Josh. That's where you have to go. That's how we have to say it. And that's how we're gonna have some fun out here. Now we're gonna take our plaque mix that we just created, which is black, crimson, and blue, mixed up over here, and we're gonna take 2 different brown colors. Right there. We're gonna mix up those guys into that plaque mix, making it black, right? Which is, it sounds a little ridiculous. It's just a brown black color. So it's very, very, very dark. Darkness, right? Now the lighter that the color is, the further away it's gonna look. The darker the color is, the closer it's going to be to us, right? Now we know that if we want something to look far away, we need to make it very soft and very faint, and that way we can darken things up as we get closer to us in our foreground, right? So you guys check in. It's been 10 minutes. Check in. Tell me where you're watching from out there. If you're watching on the Tubi tubes, just make sure you give me the old thumbs up. It helps. I'm telling you, it helps. We're going to come in here with our brownish, blackish paint that we call brack. With a whole big chunk of skin. Get off of there. I don't want you on the painting. I don't want you on my glove. Over at this big spot of, let me wipe that off. There we go. How does your palette get so dirty, Josh? I wonder, guys. Now remember, we've got this big mountain off in the background we're going to use our fan brush for. We're going to start about maybe center, just right of center on our canvas, and just start popping and moving it and bouncing it, right? Not letting it come off of the thing, just kind of vibrating the brush as we're dragging along, getting a little taller, and a little taller, and a little taller as we go, okay? Perfect mountain, don't you think? Do you see? Can you see it? That's all we're gonna do. Wiped off our brush, devoid of any paint. Didn't clean it, just brushed it off on paper towel. I'm gonna start pulling this guy from its top side backwards. Right? We're gonna have to do it multiple times in order to get the paint to go. Probably 10 or 20 times because there's not a lot of paint up here. If you do have a lot of paint on your brush, then it will drag further. Right? Again, we're just kind of scrubbing it in. It's about the only time that Paint with Josh uses a brush like a pencil is when we scrub stuff in like that. Out there, drag it, let it get smaller and smaller and smaller. Filling in these little excess areas, honestly. Does that not look like a little faraway little mountainous hill? Now, if you're cool enough and light enough in your touch, you can drag just a couple little bits of trees or something that live off in the distance. Now remember, if they're real big, or if they get real big, they're gonna look real close. So now maybe we're gonna have to close the gap right there. Because those trees were just a bit too tall and a bit too crazy. And remember, they're supposed to be very far away. Take our big old 2-inch brush and pull these guys back. Only really leaving the dark ridge at the front, having all the other paint kind of fade and get lighter. And that way, we can pop something else darker in front of it and have it stand out away from said little guy back there. Now remember, our sky is very bright in the night out there, that's right. Very bright on our sky. We're going to push it, makes it soften softly. Remember, I want it to be untouched white right there, okay? Everywhere else can get a little softer, but we're almost like we're staring into the sun on this painting. We're going to switch back to our Paint with Josh 2-inch brush, go back into our yellow ochre, excuse me. And now we're going to come back in here and clean up any areas that we had where that mountain looks a little weird, or maybe it came down too far in your grass or whatever. Now the more gold grass that you're putting out here, the cooler it's going to be. It's like the light is just right onto this grassy area. Now let's say Josh is just not bright enough for me. I don't know what I'm doing because we have no undercolors. It's just black canvas, just a clear medium on the top of that black canvas, okay? So you're like, I don't know, my brush maybe got too dark, whatever the case may be, okay? Let's just say we grab a small little touch of white, couple taps. We don't, see how bright that is already? We don't want to have too much. Let's say underneath. Start launching in a bit of this. Now it might be very bright initially, okay? But the more that we tap at it in that localized place, the more it's going to mix in with the yellower paint, the darker color, right? We're gonna let that light kind of fade out, fade away, so you got a brighter spot, a little bit darker spot over here. This side's gonna end up being covered over by our trees and all that stuff, and it's gonna change its color anyway, so we don't have to worry about it. But as you can see, we're at a very, very slight downward angle, right? So if we have our guy up here, it's not straight across the canvas, that's for sure, right? It's not that severe either, but it's definitely not our level horizon. You need it to get lower over here on our left side and be taller over there on our right side. Now, I just so happen to have a little bit of this gold paint from the Master's Touch brand. But we're gonna come out here and just kind of dull that down a little bit. There, a little bit of gorgeousness. Okay, now, let's switch back to our brack color. And we're gonna get over onto our little filbert brush. The Paint with Josh filbert brush comes in the kit, right? We're gonna go back into that brack mix, pulling it down on both sides, trying to make it very flat. Now, This only really works if you have a brand new brush. If your brush is real fat on the end, it's gonna make a real fat little spot out there, right? So remembering that all of this stuff over here gets covered up by our big trees. We don't need to do anything big in the background over here. And we don't even have to go that far over to the side either. But let's just say there was one little spot, little thing out there. Maybe it's a clump of trees. Maybe it's an old church. Maybe it's something else. It's gonna look like something else now. We're making it bigger, right? Maybe it's a clump of trees off in the background. Remember, so far away that you can't really tell. That's the best part about it, okay? We're gonna come underneath with our 2-inch brush and just kind of tap just to make it have a level bottom, right? Now, if his level bottom is all the way back on the horizon, that gives us a lot of space in between him to start stacking things forward on ourselves, okay? So, how are we going to make the next item look far away, but look a little bit closer than that guy? Does anyone know? Can you tell me in the comments now? What if I wanted to make this little thing, which maybe is a bit taller, right? Maybe it's got a little bit of something out there. How am I gonna make it look closer than our further away guy? We're gonna sit his butt down lower, right? So even if whatever it is, whatever the shape is, maybe it's a whole nother little bunch, whatever, right? We don't wanna let those colors touch too much, otherwise we won't be able to tell the difference. But if his butt is sitting lower than this guy, right, you have that slight little downward change. And it doesn't have to be humongous. It doesn't have to jump down all over the place. You tap him out, and he's a little bit lower, right, like little steps. Step, 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 step. As we come down, we start to make into steps. I'm gonna make this guy a little bit more round and just indistinct about what it could be out there. Maybe it's a bushel of trees, maybe it's a whole bunch, maybe it's whatever, right? Now as we get over here, we're getting closer to us, which means not only is the butt going to sit lower, but the top is getting higher. See how this guy's taller than his background and his butt sits a little bit lower than his buddy back there? Makes him look like he's one step closer up here to the front. Why have we been restricted? We haven't even said anything. I don't understand. Maybe it'll go away. I'll keep an eye on it. Maybe it'll go away. If not, we might have to restart, whatever. Now, let's get out here. A couple little things. It's a weird little bushel of whatever it is out there, okay? Now, we're gonna go back in, and in order to make it look closer than our further away guys, it needs to be a little taller, it needs to sit down his butt a little bit lower, right? So even with the filbert brush, we're just gonna sort of create the top of this rounded looking little thing, popping it in, leaving some spaces. This thing is literally a big, in the reference photo, a giant bushel of trees, and that in fact grows out this way down along the bottom. Again, creating distance. You can see a little bit of grass in between the mountain and the trees, a little bit of grass in between the tree and us. That creates distance, you guys. Literally, that's what it looked like out there on that reference photo. And I'm gonna come in here, just right underneath, very slightly tapping at our guy, keeping his butt a little bit lower than our further away guy, right? Getting taller, getting lower. You get all these things that are happening out there, guys. All these things that are going on. We're gonna take a little bit, make a little old evergreen tree out here just with our little filbert brush. Smallest little touch. And the more we go, the more we push in, push in, push in. Nothing more than that, guys. It doesn't need to be anything more than that. Remember, it's a very far away little thing. We're making small details out here. We can even scrape in just a little shtick right out the top, making it even sharper, okay? Now remember, not every tree has to be as big or get as big or whatever as every other tree. It's just gotta look odd. We just want something popping up in the night. Now remember, you can always extend your grass down as well. So let's say we're going to continue along our little line out here. All right, now as I start coming down, I'm going to start popping out like little gears, right? We're dipping down, little steps, step, 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 step down, step down, step down. If you don't fill it in all the way, looks pretty cool to me, right? What if there was a little bit of darkness, a little shadow in between, maybe a hill, maybe a light area, whatever it was. And the more that we tap onto it, the more indistinct and farther away it becomes. And now there's a little dip, right? One more little detail out there that we didn't have before. And if you don't like it, you go back and cover it up. I like it. I'm gonna kind of leave it out there. Now what we need to do is either pop in our grass that lives down here in the front, our little ridge or whatever it is, or you could literally keep going, tapping in lines at that angle until we got all the way up to us. It's whatever you want to do when you're doing your painting, okay, we're gonna come over here into our sap green, little sappy green color, and it's gonna be too bright, right? You can't just go sap green and go on there. It's too weird. It's too weird. We gotta add a little bit of yellow in there as well. So we're gonna take our yellow ochre, right, mix it in with our sap green color, so we're gonna get like a more of like a fall type of color of grass, right? It's not gonna be perfect summer green out there. And what we need to do is start to change our angles. And we can make a smiley face. Can we make a smiley face out there, do you think? Right? All we gotta do is start tapping in. So it's a little bit different from our grass above. It's not exactly the same color. Make little smiley faces. Right? Tap above that guy, tap above again. Tap again, making little things however you want it to be, right? Because again, it's all up to you. Now on this further away guy, the more that we tap at him, tap at him, tap at him. Not trying to cover everything, not trying to make it all exactly the same. So there's still some little bits of difference out there, right? A little shallow little thing out there. What if I came down at a steeper angle, right? It's gonna look like my hill over here is changing directions. You can't just have it all be exactly the same, right? We come down, we tap up, and we look at it and go, okay, it's starting to look pretty cool. If this guy was out here, tap over that brighter area so it goes away. We can come in here, we can tap over here, we can tap down and then back, just like a typewriter. Right? How do you want it to be? Why does this spot look different? Anybody? Why does that space look different than everywhere else? I want you to tell me. Why? Why does it look so different? Right? What is missing there? What is it? Yeah, the brand new Diamond Art Club kit is the sister to When Worlds Collide, if you grab that one. Now there's dark separators, it's closer. It's more dry, no. There's less paint there, right? There's less, because I didn't add any more, I did all this background, and then I got to here, and there's less paint on the brush now. And so we can see more dark canvas underneath, right? So if I needed to fix that, I could either come back, pick up some of this paint and tap it down, right? Come up here, tapping it, working it. See how it's getting brighter as we go? And the more that we tap onto it, we can change what it looks like, right? So we're in control of what's happening. Remember, we're gonna leave about this much room down around the base, and if I'm gonna do that, right, I'm gonna want to start anyway, feeding up my grass up my little hill over here. And now because we don't have so much paint, guys, it's gonna be getting darker. Right? Because there's not as much paint. More of that black canvas is shining through. We can't see. That's what I want, okay? We don't want it to be supremely bright back here. Otherwise, our shadows that we're gonna put in aren't gonna make any sense, okay? Doesn't even have to be perfect, doesn't have to be filled. If you leave little spots, it looks a little cooler. And doesn't it look like this side is getting a little bit more light than our steeper section of grass back here, especially when we start popping in our trees that are going to be sitting here casting all this shade, right? It's all for a reason, guys. Now, I do not want to get any more paint onto my brush, because if I do, it's going to just make it brighter and brighter. So I'm slowly tapping at it, trying to blend it, so it's not such an instant change. There it is, right? The more darkness that you leave, or the darker little patches in between, the cooler things are going to be. And if you're like, Josh, mine's all the same, back in with a little bit of that, our yellow ochre. Now we start tapping it on down here, right? Maybe up into there. Maybe we'll leave a gap. Come up and we'll almost hit it. But we won't touch it all the way, and we won't make it all exactly the same, because then we're just gonna not have any bright areas. Zing! Right down into the gracious. Now, some of the times, that yellow ochre is not bright enough. So let's get a little of our cadmium yellow. We'll start tapping on. There we go. We're in control. We're not trying to make, this is our highlight right now, right? We're not trying to make it all the same. We're trying to leave a bit of brighter area that has come down and hit into our gracious zone. Because it's never gonna all be the same out there, you guys. Oh my Liechtenstein. Look at those little shadows, those gaps, right? Where you have that darkness. So a guy over here, maybe he caught a little bit of light over the hillside, but not so much. Right? We don't want to see everything out there. Fantastic, you guys. You guys. Guys, look at that one. It is looking so wicked cool. Remember, if you're watching over on the tubes, to give us a little thumbs up out there, because it really helps. It helps more than you think. It really does. Tapping in, just trying to decide where I want my roadway to come up and touch against this little guy. All little things possible. Now, leave this gap until you're almost at the end, and then you can come back and go, you know what, maybe I'll decide, maybe I don't like it so far way back there, or whatever. But don't try to do it too soon, right? Because you're gonna end up getting rid of that dark separator, and then you're gonna wish you had it back, right? I'm telling you. We're gonna come over here into that same very dark brown mix with our Paint with Josh plaque mix, which is very much like Bob's Mountain mix. You can use it straight out of the tube like that. Right? And a little bit of our two brown colors. And we're gonna get a little closer again. So now these trees, we may be able to see just a few more details on these guys. They're gonna be a little bit taller. They're gonna be a little bit bigger. All right, let's just go upward. We're gonna tap in very small like. Not every branch even has to connect. Remember, these guys are all silhouettes. This entire painting is in silhouette because we're staring at the sun. We're literally looking at the sun right in our very eyeballs and going like this. Like, we can't see any details out there, right? So we're staring into the sun, trying to take a photo of this gorgeous sky. Now, we're gonna come in here. There are two, as far as the reference photo is, so let's put in two at least, right down there. Right? Now, depending on where we keep his trunk, because we could take that whole trunk away and just have all of his, branches sitting on the ground, or we could leave his trunk. Right? We're very lightly touching, and make it a little bit bigger of a splotch every so often. Not everything has to all be exactly, what's that word? Silhouetted, right? Don't have to be equal on either side. That's nothing out there says that. Maybe I don't want that guy to have a tree trunk, right? All up to me every time I go to do it. Another chance for me, myself, and I to do it a little bit differently. Now, if I tap into that brown and take it backwards, or take it down, right? Tapping in, it's going to create the shadow of the tree without having to do anything. We're not doing anything. We're doing less. Do less. Every time you go to do a painting, do less. Don't try to do so much all the time, okay? Now, again, since we're going to have this extreme bright color, and it's still not as bright as I want it to be back here, we're going to get a little of our cad yellow. Go back in, tapping on, just really making a bright spot, because our trees are going to block everything that we can see. And we want to be able to see down and see that grass is a bit brighter. So now I've dabbed off my brush, but go back in, tap on it again, get a little brighter as it gets a little closer to me. You just don't want it to be everywhere, otherwise it's not a highlight, right? If it's everywhere, then it's just the color, and it doesn't make a difference. Now, let's say I wanted more shadow behind this guy. I could literally tap in a bit of the shadow with my fan brush that had that color on it, and I can come back here and tap it in, turning it into grass, just a darker color of itself. Same thing that we did over here, right? Very simple, very easy. We may have to we may have to start the tiki-taki stream over again because of that restriction. It's not gone away. So let's get everybody out there on the talk, right? If you're not already following me, give me a follow right now, and then I'm going to restart. And so if I restart and you're not following, you're not going to know where to come back and see. Tap these guys a little bit more. We're gonna go add our fence back in there. Fantastic, guys. Again, now that we're getting up into our foreground, let's get rid of this black color. And let's go with our Paint with Josh plaque mix. Our black, our crimson, our blue mixed together into a very dark purplish black color. And bingo, bango. I don't know if this is a surprise or not, so I'm not gonna say who got it or who it's for, but I hope they appreciate it because this is one of the nicer ones that we've done. Now, since we have more room on this canvas, I'm not going to use the smaller side of my blade, which I mean, you literally could, whichever one you're more comfortable with, honestly. You can use this longer side or you can use the smaller side. All right, we're gonna end the TikTok one and restart. Over here, and now, perfect. Get the heck out of here. Over there, it's ridiculous, dude. Literally ridiculous. Now there'll be 2 little clips of this that I have to clip into one video. Okay, so we've got our Paint with Josh plaque mix up there. We know, again, we've got a tree about the size of my hand, about 5 or 6 of them. They take up this whole area right here, right, as per the reference photo. And so, back in here, we've got a little fence. Now there is like an old kind of a wagon cart that lives back there, but we're not gonna paint that guy because it's hard to see, not necessarily a focal point on the painting, and the only thing it's gonna do is piss us off if we mess it up, right? So, leave it out, literally. Okay, let's come over here. We're gonna scrape up a small amount of that Paint with Josh plaque mix. And let's say we could even do it way out here, or wherever. Just gonna pop on one little spot, one little fence post out there. Now, if you wanna be fancy, okay, you line up where your sun is, behind your fence post, launch a little bit of your shadow out there. Only if you wanna be fancy. You don't have to do it, okay? Over here, let's stay a little bit closer together as we are over here, and then the further that we get closer to us, the more distance will remain. So that's about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. Pop on another little guy. Again, very small amount of paint. You don't want to have a whole lot. Let's get just a little bit bigger. We'll pop in another little fence post. Okay, now, each one of these guys is sitting a little lower, depending on the size or the shape of your hill out there. Right? They're gonna start dropping down. This is already higher, this is already lower. So the more kind of odd that you have them, the more realistic it might actually end up looking, right? If you have them at different heights and different lengths, you see we're getting wider and wider. First we start, then a little bit bigger, then a little bit bigger, then a little bit bigger. Right? Coming out here, guys, and a little bit wider, and our stakes are getting a little bit bigger, right? We're pushing on them, we're making bigger things, bigger marks out here, and they can actually go up a little bit taller as well, because now we're getting closer to us. We would imagine things would be getting a little bit taller, a little bit wider. We can see more things. Now, it does not show, as far as the reference photo, where the fence goes. Does it come here and take a turn and leave? Do you want me to show you how to do that? We'll come over here, okay? We're gonna be on the same line as this guy, so it's just slightly above that guy right there, right? And we're going to come down, but we're not going to come down as far as this guy. So it will look like it's starting to make a turn and going in the opposite direction, as you can see. Right? And again, a little bit taller, and then his butt sits up a little bit higher as well, and that will take it further away. So you're making it look like you've got a square little field out here, right? Very simply and easily. Now, we'll come back with our palette tool again. Pull it way down, so we got nothing on there. Scrape up the smallest amount you can possibly get, because you don't want a very big line, right? Our angle is most important. We're not trying to dump on the paint. I'm not trying to smush it on. I'm just trying to scrape in just the finest line that you've ever seen. Now, the line does not have to line up. A lot of the times, fences are offset for a reason out there. Maybe it's a reason you might not know, might not care about, but they're offset out there. They don't have to be this perfect thing. It's mainly to keep the cows' heads in there getting all crazy. Back. Remember, wire fence. We're not supposed to be able to see every piece of this wire fence, and it is not a straight line just all the way through, right? That's not going to be realistic. It's just a straight line all the way through. This is an old fence. Now here we're kinking, we're going up the other way, continuing on, up, bang, almost above our horizon. This all ends up getting covered up by our trees, but just to show you, you can make a cool little square out of nothing out there, right? Now, if we're fancy, we're gonna be putting our shadows in, but they're gonna change angle. They're not gonna all be the same diagonal angle, because we're wrapped around the sun. If I'm directly under the sun, I'm gonna come down like this. If I'm over here, it's gonna be more of a steep angle because the sun is right there. Same thing on this side, steeper, and then almost flat as we get all the way out there, right? How do you want yours to look? Again, you have to do it like a clock, okay? I'm chilling you out there, guys. And don't try to do all the little things. Realistically, are you really gonna see the string, the wire string that's in between on our grass? Like, are we realistically gonna see it down there? Maybe. But it's all up to you and how you want to do it. Once you do this, though, don't go tapping over it with your grass brush, because then you're going to go and ruin all these little fine lines and different things that are out there. Right? Little bits. I wouldn't do too many, honestly. You're not going to realistically see them. We're, again, staring into the sun. We're not going to see a whole lot of things. Now, let's get down here into the bottom first. And since we've got all of that light color onto our Paint with Josh 2-inch brush, we're going to use this 2-inch brush in order to get our dark brown color. Just foul amount of skin. And then my problem is I step on it and drag it all over the place. Anybody else do that? Or am I the only one? It's probably just me. Okay, a little bit of our 2 browns, and that's a whole heck of a lot of paint on the brush right there because I was trying to drag down through all that skin. So let's start down here, push it, mush it all the way across our canvas, okay? This now becomes our dirt road. Whatever gap you leave in between your grass and your quote-unquote dirt road back there, right? Whatever gap you leave is the gap that you're going to leave. We are not going to have the exact same painting, right? We are doing 2 separate things that are very similar. They're not the same, they're similar. Giving you an idea, yours will look different. It will. It's not going to be, literally, how can I explain and you do the exact same amount of pressure and the same amount of paint by going through 2 different paint piles onto the brush, right? It's just impossible. Literal impossibility, okay? Now, I don't want it to be too bright, especially down at the bottom, so if it is getting too bright, let's grab that darker brown, that Van Dyke brown. Yes! Put that big old heavy Van Dyke brown on there. Right there. Guys, we're gonna do a cool little muddy puddle onto our thing. So if you haven't seen the muddy puddles or how they're made, get ready. Get ready, because I'm about to show you.
Did someone say muddy puddle?
Muddy puddles.
I can't believe.
There, actually, let's not mess around too much back here until we start throwing in our trees, okay? So now that we've got our guy down here, we've got all this brownness, we need to have our trees that are poking up, and you don't have to do this part, right? But as far as the reference photo, there is an enormous amount of dark, shadowy silhouetteness that sticks up into our sky. I'm just telling you, it's an insane amount. So make up a big old pile of paint. Let's grab our Paint with Josh brushes, and let's just go freaking wild, man. Let's go crazy, boy! It's gonna be amazing. And remember, I do have a very similar painting, very close to this, that's available on my site. You can go check it out, right? You know where to go. You all know. Now that we've got all that darkness over here, we're gonna take our Paint with Josh bushy brush, right? This is what they look like after you've used them several times. And this is what I want to use in order to make this little guy out here, okay? So, we're going directly into the pile of paint. This is different from every other time that we've done so far. Normally when we load our brushes, we're dragging down in the very light area of paint. In this instance, we're going into the pile, trying to load as much as possible into the brush. And then we're gonna come out here and go into the light. Don't unfollow me when this happens, but you have to, just right out there, start launching in our little tree shape, whatever it is. It's covering over a lot of stuff in our background, which is why we don't pay too much attention to our sky, at least on this side. This is our focal point right there. You're looking right into the sun, okay? Now, we know we're gonna have some tree trunks and such, and we know that this fence down here gets covered up anyway, right? So it doesn't matter what it looks like. Throw it out there, okay? And then we're gonna go get some more. And we're gonna come back off of this guy. We're gonna leave a little bit of space around the top where these guys can kind of shine through. You don't have to fill up every spot in the top area, okay? What we do wanna do is as they get closer or further back here and more dense, you're gonna have less and less and less light shining through. But just like that, don't try to get rid of all these spots. Don't try to make it so dark that you can't see through it. Because when we're literally staring into the sun, the beams of light are coming through the trees, right? In all these little open areas. And remember, if you don't have enough paint on the brush, right, which we're starting to see a difference between this amount of paint and this amount of paint. You can even tell a difference in color, right? That means we don't have enough paint. And we need to go back and make up more of the Paint with Josh plan. I told you we were going to use an intense amount and that you probably didn't make up enough, right? I told you. I already said it was going to go down like that. Mr. Batman. People tell me I sound like the Joker, and I finally saw a video of the Joker, and I was like, you know what? I do kind of sound like the Joker. Just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna come in here. We're gonna take that brush and try to find the part, because I never like to really load the whole brush. It's always down at an angle like this, you know what I mean? That way when we come up here, ooh, see the difference in just the darkness? That's how dark we want it back here. Cover up most of our little fence posts in the background because they weren't really in the reference photo, so it doesn't really matter. Just trying to show you how to paint something cool. Right? Cover around the edge. They're all about the same closeness to us, and the trees are all about the same age because they're all about the same height in our reference photo. So they don't have to get lower to higher in order to make them look closer to us. Now, we're gonna put down this big old brush. We're gonna grab our Paint with Josh fan brush, and the brand new ones are very sharp, okay? What we're gonna do is kind of cut in a little bit of a branch and then plop down a trunk. Bang, right there. Just by pushing a little bit harder. So we're dragging kind of lightly, then harder and harder and harder, and bang. All right, we've got a little trunk of our tree. Now, depending on how big of the trunk of the tree, it may look really funky if it's kind of skinny. We've got another little trunk right there. How many little trees are in this painting, are holding these guys up? Maybe our one guy stops right back there, right in front of, but not as low as this guy is, right? So then you got some depth in your paintings. Then you come down here, and this last guy is the biggest, the closest. He's a little bit bigger, sits a little bit lower, right? We don't have to see every single piece of him. But just like that, my friends. And now, the coupe de grass. Yeah, coupe de grace. Yeah, that's it. The coup de grace, okay? It is the sunlight creeping through the back of here. So I can already tell that this guy is already too bright, right? So, if anything, I can get back over here, even with the brown that's on my brush, tap it in, tap it in, tap it in, make it a little bit dark, a little harder to see back here. Now with our 1-inch brush, so we can fit into these little spaces, we're gonna go back into that yellow ochre. And come back in here and start tapping off little bits, leaving some little areas in between. And that should look like, right, little spots where that sunlight is creeping through, and then we have our darker green around the outside. Now, if you get them too close and you don't leave that space, it's not gonna look right. It's not gonna look like shadows or bits of light that are creeping through our little area. And remember, once it gets up to here, which isn't too far away, it's gonna become very dark again. And so if anything, we can go back over it with our darker color. Right, we'll take that lighter color back through here. It's creeping. All right, just kind of tapping at it until it mixes in. And it's, oh, isn't that just fantastic, you guys? Now, if I wanted to, I could go back to that green and our yellow ochre that was our shadow color for our grass. Right? All it needs to be is a little bit darker in this one area back in there, right? It just has to be a bit darker. So if anything, you can grab a little touch of your plaque mix. There we go. Get darker and darker, growing into something bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more, again, that we tap at it, the more soft it'll become. You can use your fan brush and just kind of tap at it, turning it into a little grassy thing. Right back here, a little bit more, right? Creeping back, and that way it starts looking a little darker back here. We're in control, remember, how dark it gets, this, that, and the other. And then you could literally start popping in that brown or that darker color back underneath there. They're all pretty much the same feel. There we go. Now we really got some shadows back here in our grassy area. Like that. A little bit of dark, right? That's just with our fan brush. Now I can come back over here and start tapping at it lightly with that 2-inch brush, which is the thing that gives it that grass texture. Remember, don't have to come down too far. But guys, is that not wicked cool? Is that not just wicked neat? Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it, they say. Come back in here, a couple little bits of our brighter grass. And our darkness doesn't have to be so dark. We can still have some little pieces of that bright creeping through. Boom. Nothing back here has to be perfect. That's the whole best part about doing these paintings. Nothing out there is going to be perfect. That's gorgeous. Now, we can even take a couple more, because I've got more of this dark paint. Right? And let's put something off the backside of these guys that's a little bit closer down onto our road. And then we won't have to focus so much on our shadows or whatever that is. We can see them coming through, right? Now we'll have a little bit of bush down here at the base. And down here. slide it out. Remember, you can even take some of this darker color and swipe it down, swipe it over just to give us that reflection or our shadows coming down. Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, now here comes the fun part, you guys. Are you ready for the fun part? Are you ready? Because that's when we're going to make our muddy puddles. And we're going to use our Paint with Josh brush, the brand new one. We're going to get a little bit of that yellow ochre on there. Just a little touch. A little bit of our yellow, liquid white, a little bit of our yellow ochre. And I just want to tap onto a few little places on these guys. They don't have to be like supremely high lit. I just want to have a little bit of something. Maybe they're an old bush or something, you know what I mean? Just a little touch, little thing. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh man, that's gorgeous. Oh, I just love myself sometimes. I don't know what it is. Okay, now, fabulous, fabulous. Hold them out at different ways, different angles, get some of that darkness to come out, tapping it in where I don't like it. And here comes the most fun bit of the entire thing. Where do we want to have a muddy puddle? We're going to take our liquid white. We're going to go into our yellow ochre back there. Scrape up a little roll, just like if we were going to do a mountain or whatever. And let's imagine we've got a little bit of this guy. We're going to scrape it down hard, push hard on it. I don't even care how big it is, right? Bigger it is, the more cool it's going to be. If we drop down over here, it goes over there, whatever, right? It's literally whatever we want it to be. It's whatever we say it is. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah! Are you ready? Are you ready to see the muddy puddle? It's a big one too. Ready to see it? Here we go, guys. We're going to take our 2-inch brush and start pulling down very light, very light, very light. The more we do it, the more it's going to extend. The more it extends, the less like a little muddy puddle it's going to look like. As we go down, just like with our beaches and such, and we drag it that way, very lightly, and we drag it to the side, and boy, oh boy, that is a muddy puddle. That's perfect. Literal perfection. Look at it. Right, now all we got to do is seal it in. It doesn't look like a muddy puddle because we can't see this side yet, right? What we're also going to do is take a little bit of that yellow ochre, just a little bit of that dry yellow ochre stuff out there, no liquid white or anything. We're going to come back in here, and it's almost like little ruts or little dips, little places of highlight. Things out there, just literally scraping them in like a little dirt road would be, honestly. Look at that. Yeah! Right now, if we come back in with our plaque mix, kind of drop on just right above that brightness in between our land and our muddy water that's down there is just a little bit of depth. Right? So you have that little bit of shadow, that little bit of darkness right there is going to sink your muddy puddle down into the mud, however big that dark section is. So it's up to you how big or how deep your puddle is right there, okay? Now we're gonna go around the edge. We don't necessarily have to connect it, right? If you come out there, just make some Z shapes, bang, right around the side. Okay, perfect. Literal perfection. Come through, I can come up over here, I can come down. It doesn't have to be just this perfect straight thing. Kind of looks like a little pool out there. Little old kidney pool out there, right? Off of this side, we can scrape him down. Whatever I don't like, I can always get rid of. And I'll take this darkness, kind of pull it away, pull it away, pull it away. Not trying to taint my little muddy puddle very much at all, okay? Now, I can also get back in here, take our brush, swipe away this little bit of our heavy stuff that's in the front, so we don't really need it. Right there, we just need that darker bit of color. Do you see this little puddle coming to life, you guys? You definitely don't want to go fall in that little guy right there, man. Now we're going to go back to that yellow ochre. I'm going to start lining up around the edge, little bits, right? Remember that not everywhere is going to be seen. Not everywhere has to be so bright. It's just a little detail, a little thing, a little whatever. A bit of our light catching on this kind of wet mud. That's all we're doing. Now, if you get an area that's too bright, you can always go back and blend it out. Do whatever you want, right? It's all up to you, seriously. You're in control about what it's going to look like, and how bright, how dark, this, that, and the other. Don't make it too crazy bright, because we're going to go back and sprinkle over our little sandy gravel technique that you guys just know and love. Right? So don't make it too nuts. A little bit of that yellow ochre. It's constantly mixing in with the brown, with the plaque mix, with everything that's down here at the base. Right? You don't need to see too much detail as you get back here into your shadows. Now, very lightly, just swipe it. Very, very, very soft, okay? Very soft. Now, let's get in here with our fan brush. And the Paint with Josh fan brushes, when they're brand new, don't really make the best sand. I'm just telling you, I'm being honest, right? You want a brush that's beat up, that's old, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, you want that kind of brush. And that way, you'll get a different kind of a split or a splatter or whatever's out there. Now remember, we do have a similar painting, very similar to this one, on the homepage. Now, we're gonna get into that, our plaque mix with our odorless mineral spirits, right? Onto our brush, right in there. So you can see it's very runny, it's very wet and crazy like. Okay, now I'm gonna deposit that onto my palette tool by tapping at it like this. Boom, boom, boom. Now, if I'm a left-handed person, this is going to be in this hand, and I'm going to be holding it with the point up here, right? Putting my paint on that side so I can drag through. Since I'm a right-handed person, I'm holding it like this, like a pencil, okay? And then what we're going to do is drag through, bending back all those bristles and releasing specks throughout our canvas. Now, here's what you don't want to do. Stay in one place, right? Start getting out there, specking it around. Don't stay in one spot. Continue making your big circle all the way around until you feel like you have enough, okay? And now, since it's already so dark brown in our sand, I don't feel like we need the brown specks. So we did our black specks, and now we're gonna go white, okay? Now again, please don't stay in one spot, right? The more you flick these guys on there, and we can go back and get our little muddy puddle and stuff. Make it all shiny again. The more that you flick these guys on there, the more it's gonna look. Gravelly little specks out there, right? So, don't do too many. Or you're not gonna like it. Too many. We're gonna get up in here into our little puddle again, very lightly, because they are either paint thinner specks or the liquid white. It will literally disappear. Wipe it across. It's gonna make it even more glossy. Man alive. Yeah! Look at that little muddy puddle out there. Ooh, he's fantastic. My goodness, guys. Oh, okay. You guys gotta start coming up with a title for this one. I wonder if Adam is watching. Is Adam out there watching at this moment? Ba-ba-ba-bum. Man, that's cool. That is neat. So apparently, it's supposed to be a surprise for somebody, but I'm not going to tell you who. So you guys are going to have to come up with a title, because that would ruin the surprise, right, if they didn't know. Maybe they already know. Cowboy's Pleasure, I like that. Looks amazing, appreciate you. How do you get, so if you go to my place, right, like my site, Paint with Josh, and you scroll down past the first thing you see, which is very similar to this, right? And you go down one thing, and it'll be this little button, right? It'll be a whole little line of buttons. It's gonna be the very first one. It says Paint with Josh brushes. You click that, and it'll over to the craft ammo and get you guys where you need to be. Now, remember, if you use Josh 20 when you're at the end, you know what I mean? You put in Josh 20, then it should still be active. If it's not, then try Summer Save 15, all one word. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure the last person that tried the code, it still worked. So I'm pretty sure they still have it active, but if not, at least you can save 15 by doing the other code. So we're gonna start cleaning off all these brushes. You're gonna tell me what to title said painting. Let me know what your best title would be, right? Because this is a gift for somebody, so you gotta have a really good title, guys. Remember that. This is for someone else. You gotta have a title. You gotta help me come up with it. Because I just titled way too many. There's too many. There we go. Somebody said Indian Summer as one of the titles of the other paintings. That was really cool. It caught my eye as like a nice title for a painting. There. Yeah, let me got a few brushes left to clean, guys, so hit me with your titles. What do you think this one should be called? And if you come up with the best one and you get chosen, then apparently it's a big deal. And people find that a big deal. Oh my god, I finally got picked by Paint with Josh for my title. I don't understand it, because I'm just a regular dude, right? I'm just a dude. Just a dude up here that paints for you. Shows you all the cool stuff that I've learned throughout all of my failures and all of my practice and doing more than 2,080 paintings, right? That way your painting journey is less difficult and you have more fun and you want to keep doing it more often, right? So I try to tell you guys everything I know. Literally everything. Nothing is hidden around here. No gatekeeping, as they say. Make sure though, when you get to Paint with Josh brushes, you really get them dried out, okay? Really dry them out, smack them against the table, kind of like you're whipping somebody with a towel back at school. You just do that, but onto a paper towel. Even after shaking into the can, beating the bejesus out of it into the bucket, dabbing it on a paper towel, still won't make it dry enough. You gotta give it that flick. Give it that flick and you'll be all set-a-rooski. Put them back in your little Paint with Josh collectible box. Amazing. I'm telling you. I can't wait to see if we do another kit what the new box is going to look like. Because I'll choose new paintings to put on the new box. And then we'll have to see. And then you guys will have to get the new box. The version 1, or Gen 1, Gen 2. Very cool. Okay, one more brush, guys. One more that we got to clean. And then we're all ready to pick a title. So type them in one more time. That way I can see it from here. I can see your titles, right? But only if you're typing them in. Otherwise, how am I supposed to read anything? Just how the heck am I going to read something? Man, this one came out so good. Pastures of Solitude. I like that. Morning walks, southern sunset. Yes, we haven't put the birds in yet. Correct. Country living. I like that. Cow tipping dreams. Let's see. Heaven awaits. I like that one too. Country evening. I dig it. I dig it. Puddle o' mud. I like that. Isn't that a band? Isn't that a band? Puddle o' mud. From back in my generation, anyway. There we go. Very, very, very cool, guys. Very cool. All right, let's throw the old birds in. Since we've got our liner brush, we've got our plaque, everything's all wet, ready to go. Take our Paint with Josh liner brush, the script liner, the most gorgeousest of brushes. Just flying through. Make them different angles or at least different levels of flappiness. Otherwise you just got a bunch of V's or a bunch of the same things out there. They never look like that. So, very neat. Let's sign this one down around the bottom and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to choose one of those titles really caught my eye. And so if it's up to me, boom, 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 gorgeous. Gorgeousity, I usually say. There we go. Okay. So like I said, this one was already predetermined who was going to get it. And they did it way prior to today. They got a long time ago. So, yes, what do we got for titles on this one? Let's see. Let's see. Cowboy's Pleasure, I like. Heaven Awaits is good. Another Quiet Day. Field of Dreams, I like that one too. After the Rain, I like that. Ooh, After the Rain, you guys. Pastures of Solitude. Puddle Meadows, I like Puddle of Mud too. Thanks, Mo Money, appreciate you. Appreciate it. I like After the Rain. I don't know who said it, but that's what I would picture, right? Like after this It's all muddy in the night. It rained overnight, and then you get this sunrise through the clouds. Fabutastic, everybody. That looks so cool. So cool. All right, we have to do one more little thing, and that is wrap this little guy around his edge back here. There. Wrap him around the side of the canvas. Fantastic. Gosh, there's so much depth in that painting already. Just already. So, if you like those Paint with Josh brushes, they make some serious sharp trees. Serious little things. Serious grass, man. Paint with Josh brushes. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Tap just a little bit. You guys know me. I gotta finger paint a little bit. Always with the small amount of the finger painting. And that way I can go back and decide maybe that little black area was just a bit too big or whatever, right? Oh, fantastic. Okay, that one came out amazing. You guys are awesome. Who said, what was that title that I really liked? I forget now. What was that title? After the Rain. I did that. I like that. So again, I'm going to blend the top of the canvas. I'm telling you, if you've ever tried to use a brush on this small surface on the top of the canvas and have it reach down in the front and get the painting, boy, oh boy, you'll never want to do that again. So I just use my fingers back and forth, just kind of massage it gently across the affected area. Are we painting or are we putting on preparation H? Over here, over there. Like that. This one is number, guys, I think it's, whoa, I think it's 2081. I'll have to look it up later. Actually, not the thing. Let's see. Oh, of course it's not going to show me. Yeah, okay. 2081, man. That is a lot of paintings. Calling it after, what was it? After the Rain? After, I'm so bad at titles. What was it again? After the Rain. Perfect. Like it. Title there, over there. 10/2/2022. We're all going to go to paintwithjosh.com because it's the best place on the planet if you're trying to find Paint with Josh stuff. That's where you want to go. Right, and that way, you'll be able to find everything you need over there, guys. We even have starter kits where you can get the same exact, I'll give you the canvas, the paints, the brushes, and everything you need to get started. All you gotta do is search starter kit when you're over there. Just to see. Very cool. Very cool. So, this one came out amazing. We did it in just over 1 hour on a pretty big canvas. That's a pretty large canvas, you know what I mean? That's no small little doer, that's for sure. I'm gonna wipe up this palette. I want to thank you guys all for being here to watch this amazing little scene. Oh man, this is why we wear gloves, seriously. Try to stay clean, still get paint all over myself. So remember guys, we've got the Gaston classes coming up in less than just over a week. We'll be up in Gaston, Oregon, and then we'll be back up to Sela on the 17th or the 19th, teaching classes up there. And then we'll be back at Mount Hood on November 8th. Woo, woo, woo. It's gonna be really cool, really fun, and I can't wait to see everyone. Now, come on, Josh Seuss over here. Okay, you guys are amazing. I love you all. Everybody watching over on the tube, I can't wait to see your version of this painting. We have some similar videos over there, so if you think maybe one of the smaller canvases might be a better video for you to follow, you can follow that, you can follow this, you can mesh them both together and come up with something crazy, right? But beyond that, I love you guys. It's been amazing. And until I see you guys again next time, remember, send them in to @officialpaintwithjosh over on Facebook, or Paint with Josh K on Instagram. And until I see you guys later, take care. Have a good day. And bye, you guys. Oh.